Welcome back to Six Cars, everybody. We're back to the modded scene today. We are heading to the Driven show. I would say this is probably one of Toronto's best modified car shows going. There's going to be a lot of cool builds there. I know they're unveiling a new RWB, so that's going to be pretty damn cool. And there's just going to be a ton of JDM, there's muscle cars, there's Euro. There's just a little bit of everything. So it's going to be a good day. We're going to jump on the road and check out some amazing builds that Toronto has to offer. So of course, make sure you hit subscribe, like, comment, and share. And be sure to stick around to the end because I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to catch quite a few RWBs after the show and get a closer look at them. So make sure you stick around to the end and check that out. But for now, let's hit the road and head to Driven. So as you can see, guys, inside the parking garage here at Driven, the setting's really cool. It's definitely gone for like the Tokyo Drift vibe, I would say. So there's obviously an eclectic mix of all sorts of different cars. You can go from a Rolls-Royce Wraith all the way to, you can see a Spoon DC2 sticking out from there. So we're going to walk through the show. I'm going to film the coolest things, and obviously we're sticking around for the rollout as well. Let's start our walkthrough off though and check out all of the cars here at Driven Toronto. TCP Magic FD RX-7, one of the coolest kits you will ever see on and pretty much any of the 90s JDM hero cars, I would say. The TCP Magic kit is still pretty unique from the RE Amimi or the Pan Speed. It's slightly more aggressive. You can see there's just so many little canards, air ducts, air vents everywhere, and this thing is obviously just going for a full track style build, even though it's very slammed to the ground. But my goodness, does that ever look mean? It's so aggressive, so nice looking, and all of the aero is just over the top, and honestly it really suits the car. Okay, just have a look at that from the other angle. That is absolutely beautiful looking. And just another thing, we can't really get too close to it, it's a tight squeeze, but the matching yellow Recaros are just another really nice touch to complement the build. And another angle of this aggressive side skirts, my goodness, so much aero on it. It really does look like a full time attack build, to be honest. And as we shift over here, have a look. I believe it's an FRS again. These things get so heavily modified, it's honestly hard to tell which version of the like 8.6 platform it actually is. But underneath the hood, like, check this out, my goodness. Look at the size of the turbos, and obviously the exhaust sticking up through the hood, and obviously the hood has to be cut to let the exhaust breathe. But you can only imagine the sounds this thing is going to produce. The rollout is going to be pretty wild when we get to hear that thing. But again, another look at the wild looking wide body kit on this. And of course, underglow, because why not? Mint Evo 5. Not too much done to it, but it's very clean. And I do want to give a special shout out to the wheels. 5-spoke Desmond Rega Masters. I think you more than likely see these mostly on Hondas. So to see it on something else, especially like an Evo 5, is really interesting. We don't see too many of these, obviously, in Canada, so that's quite tasteful. But speaking of which, here's another one. I don't believe that this is a 5. I think this is a 6, actually, so the face of the model. But a little bit more going on with the exterior. You can obviously see the big carbon fiber aero kit at the front, almost sort of suited for time attack. And I do see a carbon fiber rear wing as well. Not too much going on, but it's tasteful. Blue Brembo brake calipers as well. Nice tasteful mods on that. At this Hawkeye, unfortunately, I can't really get to the back, I don't think. But it's the front that I really want to show off to you guys. This glittery wrap it's on it is absolutely wild looking. The underglow, but look at this Arizona air discs on the wheels. That is something I have never seen before. And you can obviously see the Sakura pattern on it, famous in the 99-cent iced tea cans. That's a pretty crazy looking build, I've got to say. And honestly, don't mind it at all. Hold on, have a look at this Mini Cooper. We saw the Time Attack Evo before. Well, I would say like slightly Time Attack. This is like to the next level. Have a look at this APR Performance front splitter. You can see all the different canards sticking out from it as well. Sort of something you would see at like World Time Attack Challenge too. Doesn't look like there's too much going on under the hood. Well, from what I can see, maybe there's a lot more power putting out of it, but that is one aggressive looking Mini. It looks like Enki RPF 1s as well, the wide body kit, and it's sort of like classic style HKS livery on it from R32 touring cars of the past. That's a pretty interesting build. You don't see too many Minis at these shows, but I quite like that. I think we can play a game of find the coolest light mods at Driven too. Look at this Mazda 3. Damn, I've never seen that RGB effect before. It's kind of interesting. I don't know what is going on with this Subi next to it though. A lot of roses, white roses under the hood. Tons of Perrin performance parts as well. Best Evolution 2 at Subi Festival 2023. So it's got some awards to go with, that's for sure, but pretty interesting build, I will say. Its black and white theme is pretty cool. It looks like it goes all throughout the car, the interior as well. not too shabby. They're probably the most aggressive tandem kit you will see on the market today. I think this is like maybe the version 3 or version 4. To be honest, I can't even tell if this is an FRS, an 86, or a BRZ anymore. It's so heavily modified, these 6-spoke work wheels, but you can see on these new iterations of the tandem kits, they've got a lot more aero going on at the bottom of these side skirts, and we have a huge swan neck wing at the back, and then more of this crazy aero sticking off of the rear bumper. And I think at the front, yeah, we do have some more contestants for our RGB blinky lights. There's some hearts in there, lots of color going on. But over there is a Ben Sopra 350Z. This is a kit that you don't usually see too often. There's a lot of Liberty Walks and Rocket Bunnies out there, but the Ben Sopra is quite unique, to be honest, and I absolutely love these massive canards on the front. It gives that super aggressive style, but obviously wide body. It's extremely cut up. Underneath, though, there's something really interesting going on here, because you can see obviously it's quite modified. There's Cusco parts under there from Japan, but the engine cover is carbon fiber. It does have some Cosworth branding on it, so it'd be interesting to hear if we can find out more about that and see what Cosworth actually did to this legendary engine builder from England. So I can only imagine there's quite a bit of power pumping out of this car as well, but the Ben Sopra 350Z is quite a nice looking kit. Green M2, that is absolutely beautiful on the TE37s as well. It's almost like a metallic forest green. It's really, really nice to look at under pretty much any light. But look at this, a 987 Cayman. At the front here is a 997, I believe, GT3 front bumper and a 997 GT3 carbon fiber hood. And it looks like we got a GT wing at the back. That's a pretty wild build, I gotta say. Advan Racing wheels as well. I used to actually have a 987 Cayman. I did not do this much to it. It was modified, but not quite like this. And the sort of candy apple red is also a nice little touch too. Nice clean little MR2 3-spoke Advans. This is a nice period correct. You hardly ever see these anymore, and the fitment on is absolutely lovely. I quite enjoy that. T-bar roof, the bridge seats inside. That's not a bad little build. It's clean over fenders, nice little wing at the back. It's not too crazy. I think it's a pretty tasteful looking MR2. Beside it, again, not too crazy, but a very tasteful FD. I like the 6-spoke Yankees that you have on there. And beside it, we have, of course, an NA1 and SX. Always very good to see with the pop-ups. Check out the brake calipers on this, though. Like sort of neo-chrome finish on them. That is quite interesting looking. And the silver finish just, I don't know, I think it really, really suits the NA1 so well. Well, look at the design on this R8. It doesn't look like there's too much modded to it other than the rear wing, but it's obviously the paint job we're looking at. Pink in the front, green in the back for the wheels, and the pink window tint. You can't even see out of the driver's side, straight out of Need for Speed Underground. But flip over here, look at this, a Dodge Magnum. You like never ever see these things modified anywhere. There's a lot going on here. Apparently, if you look under the hood, that is a 6.1 liter Challenger Hemi swap, so obviously from an SRT, I think from the first generation Challenger SRT, so like late 2000s, but that is a pretty wild looking build. Have a look at this RX-7, my goodness. I'm not even sure what kit it is, but the wheels on it are quite interesting. The 5-spoke RE Amemiya or Amaya, I've never been able to pronounce that correctly, so someone who knows better can comment. But look at that, Lamborghini doors. You can decide what you feel about those. Pretty clean interior though, right-hand drive. Not much done on the inside. These little fins, I've never seen that done on an RX-7 before, just beside the little vents here on the side skirts. That's pretty interesting. This Super though, Mark IV on 5-spoke Workmeisters, but underneath the hood, Greddy twin turbo kit, so probably putting out a ton of power, nothing new for Supra. Again, tasteful 5-spoke Workmeisters, but the kit's quite interesting. Not even sure which one this is, but it honestly flows pretty well with the car. Like, it's considerably wider, obviously, these huge over fenders. The wing is really nice too. I love how the corners just stretch over the rear fenders. That looks really nice. That is a pretty tasteful FRS, I would say. Whether or not you like these stands, that's a totally different opinion, but the kit is incredibly good looking. Nice EK coupe tucked in the back corner here. The cream color is quite interesting, but it's under the hood, which is really catching my attention. There's a lot going on here. Let's see a lot of K&N parts, K-tune. We see the Coilrad radiator, Skunk 2 intake, and I see some boost gauges. There's a lot going on there. Goodness, I probably assume there's a lot of power coming out of this thing, just like the Supra we saw earlier. It's an R34 4-door, but this Civic, I think it's probably putting out a ton of power, but the build is quite nice, I would say. These things are really wedged in here, and it's even after it's cleared out, we still have some ropes. The best way to look at these cars will be during the rollout, so we will check them out then. But we do have a couple of new build 930 RWBs, which are incredibly sick, and we saw this 912 being built, I believe it was late last year, so we've seen that, and I'm sure there's been a few changes since we watched it being built, so we'll check that out during the rollout too. And yeah, obviously you can see the 930 back there has that sick double wing, and it's a cabrio, which is very, very cool. We don't really see those too often, and we have a coupe as well. So once the crowd clears out and the cars start rolling, we'll get a better look at those. And here we have Canada's first ever RWB 997, and it looks fantastic. There's no other way to put it. I mean, the kit on it looks phenomenal. I think Nakai did a great job with it. You can see it has the 997 GT3 style front bumper on it. I'm not actually sure what the base model is for this car. It could honestly be a GT3 underneath, and that would be pretty bold to cut that up, but the build itself looks fantastic. We're gonna have a look at the back as well. But the roof rack hanging over the rear wing is a really, really sick touch. And there's some green accents through. I can see a green roll cage through the back as well. So swing around to the rear of the car and have a look at it from there. But yeah, that is just such a beautiful looking car. Yeah, we do have the chair in the way. Nakai's son was actually here earlier signing autographs, so his chair is still here, but this was one of his latest builds, as you can see, with the signature on it, the end plate of the rear wing. But now you can get a better look at the roof rack hanging over the back of that carbon fiber wing, which looks really cool. Don't think I've seen that on an RWB before, but you can also see some more green accents, some green brake calipers, slightly better look at the green roll cage, and of course the green end plates. Again, this is just such a lovely looking car. They did an absolutely phenomenal job with it, and we'll get a few beauty shots here. This might honestly be my favorite car here. A full spoon build DC2 Integra. Has the JDM headlight swap as well. Obviously you can tell the sort of rectangular style as opposed to the USDM, which has the circular headlights, but it also has the classic spoon livery on as well, the yellow and blue we've seen in so many different racing series, mostly in Japan, but I'm sure you're all familiar with it if you play old Gran Turismo games as well. But inside it's completely gutted out. The grid bucket seat is the only thing you'll find here, along with the spoon steering wheel, the sequential shifter, and all the gauges too. And then flip around to the back. It's such an iconic shape. I absolutely love the DC2, especially when it's done up in all the spoon parts as well. It really doesn't get much better than that, guys. That is a lovely car. Here, check out the Evo 10. I mean, this sort of covers a couple different categories for us. Itasha, which you don't really see too much of this outside Japan, to be honest, which is nice. And we also have another contestant for a little competition here of the coolest looking RGB headlights. But it's honestly a pretty cool build. If you guys remember Need for Speed Pro Street back in the day, I think it was the final boss had one of these and it was just absolutely clapped out so freaking fast. That's kind of what this is giving me vibes of. I think his name was Rio. But yeah, Need for Speed Pro Street Evo 10. Just look that up and it will come up. But I do like the Itasha wrap on it and the Voltex rear wing. Obviously full GT style build. That is very clean. Yeah, check this out. This is a fully custom carbon E36 Cabrio. I've never seen anything like this. Apparently this is all custom built. So the hood, the rear wing, all of this is custom for this particular car. Even the side skirts here, but it's really interesting. Even the convertible top is carbon fiber. Look at the sound system back here. All of this is completely redesigned. Sort of honestly looks like the Aston Martin DB Air 1 Zagato in the back, how it sort of humps or arches back from the trunk into the rear seat. It's a pretty interesting build. I know we've said that a lot today because, well, there are a lot of interesting builds, no other way to put it. But this one is definitely one of the most unique I have ever seen, with all of these different carbon fiber parts, all custom, one of one apparently for this particular car. Here we go, one of my personal favorites, Elise from Lotus. Now, one of the cool things about this, because the sides of the car actually stick in so much, you can create these huge side splitters. Not a lot of people do it, but when you do see it, it's quite nice. We got an APR Racing GT wing on the back. The hard top is extremely nice. I think it looks better than the soft top on these cars. But again, not too aggressive, not too much, but it's a very clean build. This ER34, my goodness, is it ever modified. Obviously slammed to the ground, as you can already see, but a ton of air on. I mean, you can't even fit a piece of paper under that front front splitter. I'm assuming he's on bags. We can only hope he is. And what's really interesting, looks like he's got some Z-Tune style front fenders on him, which are really nice. The Advan livery is a nice touch. Just a massive rear wing at the back. That thing is just towering over the trunk. And beside it, there's also an Evo 10 with the same sort of Advan style livery. But look at this, a completely clear hood to see under at the engine. I mean, that is just ridiculous looking. A very cool touch that I can honestly say I've never seen before, is a completely see-through hood. Seen like little indents where you can just have a peek at the engine, but to have it just completely open like that is pretty astonishing. Look at the trunk liner in the back of the Charger. This is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't have one of these rugs when you were growing up, I'm very sorry for you, because this is the childhood right here. This is bringing back a lot of memories. That's pretty damn funny looking. And yeah, more cars. Let's keep on going. Well, it took a while, ladies and gentlemen, but we found an LS swap car. And again, I can't even really tell if it's an 86 or a BRZ at this point when they modify the cars. But there you go, a big old massive block LS under the hood and a wide body too. Look at this, a Pontiac Grand Prix GTP. Again, there's some cars here you just don't really ever see modified, so we have to check them out. It looks like there's a ton going on under the hood here. I don't even want to get into it. There's so much. It has a very, very long list of mods, so I'll just give you guys a taste of it. You can have a look under the hood. But again, lots of blinky lights going on, and we do have some aero modifications as well. You see a big front splitter. Black and red is quite the interesting look, and it goes right through to the interior as well. These diamond stitched or diamond cut, however you want to call it, seats. Interesting build, and we also have a Challenger here with the suicide doors and massive canards, massive front splitter. And again, the lights fitted behind this custom grille are pretty interesting. The grille actually looks like a more classic style Challenger, so that's a pretty interesting touch, I gotta say. And a wide body kit too, just to top it all off. We have a 370Z. This is another car that used to be don't even know what that was. This is another car that used to be in the 6 cars stable. I think there's Chargers back there going absolutely insane. I don't know what the security is going to think about that. Here's a 300ZX that is a little on the more crazy side though. It's done up like a Japanese police interceptor, and look at these wheels. I've never really seen these before, or maybe I haven't seen them in a long time, but that is kind of interesting to look at. Again, more of a like period correct thing. I don't think this is something you really see on any modern builds anymore, but maybe back in the day, early 2000s, you would see these kinds of wheels on 300ZXs and cars like that. But definitely no shortage of interesting cars. All right, it does look like the rollout was starting. Really hard to find where they're going, but looks like we got the exit. Okay, we finally found cars. My goodness. Finally. so they're actually setting up the RWBs. There's 5 in total, 4 that'll shoot. I'm standing at the back here with the black 930 with the double-decker wing. Just as they're setting it up, don't want to get in the way, obviously, but then we will get some nice rolling shots, all the cars moving around, and once they're all set up, we'll check them out. There's light painting 101. Oh! Well guys, that's pretty much a wrap. I would say that was a damn good show. Aside from the kind of weird rollout, a lot of cool builds. Driven's always a very fun time, and the RWB shoot at the end was quite a treat. So I hope you guys enjoyed everything. Let me know what your favorite build was, what your favorite moment was from the show. Leave it down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys, and make sure you hit subscribe, like, share, all those magic buttons. You already know what to do. We'll see you next time on 6 Cars.